So we have the worst of all worlds when it comes to recruitment, because we're trying to recruit STEM talent, but we're also trying to recruit art talent. And as we know, art is also suffering massively in education at the moment. So basically, all in all, we have a nightmare. I thought I'd break down what our staff look like for you, just to give you some idea of the kinds of people we are hiring. So for our work on Avengers Infinity War, we had a team of 160 worked on that show. And between them, they had almost 30 different qualifications. Only 8% of them had no higher education, and that's one of the biggest problems in our sectors. We're about 92% degree educated, which frankly is ridiculous. And that's one of the problems we have with STEM, is actually we're competing in that STEM graduate pool with companies like Google and Facebook, who we can't possibly compete with. So one of the things that's a problem for us is how degree educated we are. Obviously, a third of our staff did study visual effects or computer animation, as you'd expect. But the rest of them studied a whole variety of stuff, including, obviously, the STEM subjects. Things like computer science, maths, physics are obviously all really relevant to what we do in visual effects. So, what's the problem? The problem for us is this. As we all know, STEM and diversity are intrinsically linked, really. And our workforce as an industry, this isn't just Framestore, this is the visual effects industry in the UK, it's 85% white and only 27% female, which, considering about 90% of the industry is based in London, is actually even worse than it looks on the surface. And we feel that a large portion of why our stats are that bad is because we're trying to attract STEM talent, and STEM talent is largely white and male. So what did we decide to do about that? Well, we started looking at it about a decade ago, and like everyone else, our first stop was higher education. So we went to all the courses that we knew we hired from. We started sitting on their advisory panels. We started inputting into their curriculum, trying to help the pipeline for talent coming through. But what we found was it wasn't really changing anything for us. Yes, we had more input, which was great. Yes, we were meeting graduates sooner, which was great. But it wasn't actually changing the profile of our workforce, nor was it really helping us attract more people. So, like a lot of people, we went to government and complained, as you do. And they said, well, we need you to do some research. So in 2011, as an industry with games and animation, we produced a report called the Next Gen Report. And the Next Gen Report looked into all the things that we felt were affecting our ability to attract talent. And the main things that the Next Gen Report came up with were these. So a bit more detail on those. So the Next Gen Report actually went all the way back to primary school. And one of the big things the Next Gen Report found in 2011 was a big problem for us was computer science not being on the national curriculum. And actually the Next Gen Report was a key lever in then getting computer science on the national curriculum as it is now. Obviously tied into that, which I still don't feel has been solved and we're still working on, is having appropriate teachers to teach computer science on the national curriculum, which is its own problem. The other thing we identified that's a problem for us is that neither computer science or anything related to computer science or art are part of the EBAC, the English Baccalaureate. And so therefore schools are not being incentivised to teach the subjects that matter to our industry. And we felt that both those need to be included, which they still haven't. The other thing we feel as an industry is, obviously you saw our work there, we could be a really good way to keep students engaged in STEM subjects. Because you can teach maths through gaming. You can teach physics through the technology we use for VR and theme park rides. And these are all things that children are familiar with and they're inspired by and they use in their personal time. And if subjects were taught in a way that was more engaging to them, we felt that would help. The other things that the Next Gen Report found were things that I'm sure you're familiar with. Careers advice in schools is woefully inadequate. Children are just not presented with the whole range of opportunities that there are for them, particularly if they continue to take STEM subjects to a higher level. And of course, parents and carers are a huge impact on children continuing to study in STEM. And particularly for us, because we are STEM, but we're STEM within entertainment. And a lot of parents and carers don't think jobs in entertainment are proper jobs. And that's a big problem for us. So, as I said, higher education wasn't cutting it for us. So more recently, we were looking at programs like the STEM Ambassador Program, like the Enterprise Advisor Program, like Speakers for Schools, all of these things to try and address some of the things the Next Gen report found. The problem is we're actually a very niche industry. Like I said, we're about 90% based in London, and the biggest company in the industry only employs about 1,200 people in the UK. So we're very, very small. And what we don't have is the resources to individually, as individual companies, engage with the almost 33,000 schools and colleges around the country. We just don't have the resources to do that. And all the programs I mentioned don't give us, as individual companies, the reach that we really felt we needed to get the message out there. So we decided to do this. We formed an organisation called Access VFX. And Access VFX is a collaboration of over 40 visual effects, games and animation studios, educational institutions and trade bodies who have come together because we recognise that when we're working with schools and colleges, we're not really talking about competitive advantage. What we're talking about is advantage to the whole industry. If we can work together to improve our pipeline for talent, that helps us all, regardless of who those students might end up with for a job. And I want to point out we're absolutely not, because you say 40 organisations have come together and we meet once a month. It's absolutely not a talking shop. On the top left there, we've all got badges, and our company motto is get shit done. And that's absolutely what we live by. We're not about talking about the problem anymore. We're not about panels talking about why it's a problem. We're getting shit done. And these are just some of the examples of the things we've done up here. So some of the things we've done as a group. We've done careers workshops and events. We've done networking events, job fairs, CV and portfolio workshops. We've attended conferences. We've visited schools and colleges all around the country. We've done tours of our studios. We've launched QVFX, is the first ever LGBTQIA+ network in the industry, and it's countrywide. It's also now just rolling out in Canada as well. And we've done mentoring. So we've only been around since 2017. So in 2 years, we've already done an absolutely huge amount. And it's already having an impact in just 2 years. So our latest apprentice cohort that we recruited as an industry was 41% female and 24% BAME. And if you think back to the stats we had at the start, in just 2 years, that's quite a significant improvement. If we keep going like that, that's not bad going. We've also created, in 2 years, almost 250 mentoring pairs of industry professionals and young people, some as young as the age of 11. And some of those young people are on the Isle of Skye. Some of them had absolutely zero way of finding out about our industry at all other than through us. And they've now got a mentor in the industry who can help them. And we've visited more than 25 cities across the UK in just 2 years. As I said, we also have chapters, because our industry is global, we also already have chapters in the US and Canada as well. When we started up in 2017, we were sort of effectively a goodwill organisation. It was a bunch of companies coming together because we felt it was the right thing to do for our industry and it was the way we were going to make change. But we've actually set ourselves up now as a not-for-profit organisation. We've got an accountant, we've got a PR agency, we're taking this really seriously. We've also got ourselves a patron who is someone really important in our industry who has a huge amount of sway, and we're hoping that that will really help us take this further. Little story out there that I wanted to share, because our feeling is if we impact one life like this, then that's amazing. Obviously, we want to impact more. We want to make a difference for our industry when it comes to engaging talent in STEM. But, stories like this really make it all worthwhile.